gentlemen, welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is a Blue Collar Wine Show where I help you spend your wine dollars wisely. Kind of excited. My wife and I are talking about going to Sicily, hopefully. We're thinking about it. We're planning some trip to Sicily. So I thought it'd be fun to do some Sicilian wines. And one of the most popular Sicilian wines is, for reds, is Nero d'Avola. I like just saying Nero d'Avola. It's very cool. It thrives on the east coast of Sicily, although they do it throughout the entire island. Sicily is an amazing viticultural island, almost perfect, really. In fact, because of that, in the 20th century, well, actually, Nero d'Avola was used as a blending grape in the 20th century, and then at the turn of the 21st century, we started seeing Nero d'Avola on the label. Prior to that, you didn't see it very often, if at all. In fact, I've been in the wine business for a long time, in the wine world, and I don't remember seeing Nero d'Avola early, like in the 80s, 1980s, 1990s. I don't remember seeing it. I think Colosi had a Nero d'Avola back in the day. But most of it was used for blending. Now, because the viticultural conditions there are so good, they used to produce a lot of grapes. But now that new winemakers are coming along and they're lowering the yields, we're starting to see some seriously good quality wines come out of Sicily. So it's kind of exciting. It's a very exciting region for wine growing. Mount Etna, big volcano, a lot of wineries around that area, that rich, dark soil. You get a lot of great Etna wines out of there. But we're going to look at two Nero d'Avola, one in the $10 range, one in $16, both 2018. So let's look at this varietal a little bit. It means the black of Avola. It takes its name from the town of Avola in southeast Sicily. So that's where it gets its name. It also has another name, Calabrese. And I think I've seen a Calabrese on the label. So that's a new for me. I did some research and found that out. That's pretty cool, Calabrese, but mostly known as Nero d'Avola. So there you go. That's a little rundown on this grape. And it's nice to see these Nero d'Avolas coming out. This is the Canteen Europa Sensali Nero d'Avola. This is 2018. It rolls in at $10. This is imported by AJM Imports, but Keith Johnson, great importer. He introduced me to this wine. And let's see what we get here. Usually a little more acidic, can be high in tannins, depending on where it's grown. It also can be very smooth and dark fruits. So very interesting to see where these go, especially when they start putting wood on these wines. But not too much oak on this one if it's $10, I guarantee it. That's what drives the price of a wine, because oak barrels are so expensive. Not that you didn't know that, but that's what drives the price of wine, especially down in Napa where they use a lot of French oak. We're talking over $1,000 a barrel for these barrels. So they have to factor that into the price of the wine. So let's see, fairly dark. I'm going to go really dark, fairly dark. I can barely see through this wine. Let's see what we get on the nose. Boy, I instantly got licorice, a little pomegranate, you get a little spice action on the nose here. Pomegranate. I got strawberry, a touch of strawberry. Let's see what we get on the palate. Some cranberry coming through as well. Let's see what we get on the palate. See, this is like a really, really cool piece of wine. You get that pomegranate coming through very nicely. The licorice is there. This has some acidity to it, but it's not overbearing. It's nicely integrated acidity. And we're talking $10 here, guys. This is pretty good quality wine for $10, in my opinion. And I hope that's why you like watching this program, because you like my opinion. And of course, I'm more than happy to hear if you disagree with me. That's okay. I have thick skin. I'm getting some berry notes with the pomegranate. Also, the licorice is coming through, and the strawberry notes are kind of in the background. Good acidity. This is a great food wine. That's what acidity does. Not only, I don't like high acid wines that are Alabama. Out of balance. Personally, I don't like that. I know there's a lot of wine geeks out there that just love that ripping acidity. I like it in my Rieslings. I like it in my Sancerres, things like that. But in red wines, sometimes if the acid gets out of balance, then you really have to have food. You could drink this solo, for sure. But I think pizza would be great. Hamburgers. This would be a good lamb wine, by the way. Yeah, I like the licorice notes on this. And the pomegranate. And that cranberry kind of just barely comes through on the backside. Very good wine. I'm going to go C plus B minus on this wine. It's not super intense or anything, and it has some complexity to it. I think it's an above average wine hedging towards a B, so C plus B minus. Great grade for a wine that's $10, just saying. As most of you know, geography buffs, I think Sicily is the largest island in the Mediterranean and the furthest southern wine producing region in Italy. Well, it's an island outside of Italy, but it's part of Italy. Let's move on. This is the Tosca di Almerita, Lamiri, Tenuto Regaliali, Nero di Avola, 2018. This rolls in at $16. I like Regaliali wines. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Let's see what Regaliali. It's always the way I've said it. But sometimes I can butcher words, especially words from European wines, as you've noticed. Don't make any excuses, it's just I don't know what it is. Now this seems to be just a touch lighter than the other one. I can see through this one a little easier. On the reddish side for sure. Let's see what we get on the nose. But this has some nice earthy kind of bark notes to it, which is cool. Almost like a toasted, like the bark was just barely burned. Very toasty, very earthy. Getting maybe a little bit of pomegranate on this one as well. Like I said, this is very toasty. A lot of times they compare Nero di Avola to Syrah, but I don't know. But this has the nose of a Syrah. So that's very interesting that they have. Getting almost it's an interesting kind of vegetal component coming through on the backside. Not a lot, because of that toastiness, because of that earthiness. I don't get a lot of fruit on this one. I get that, like I said, some of that pomegranate. There seems to be a little spice action on it. Let's see what we get on the palate. A lot of berry notes, pomegranate and berry notes on this one. Good acidity on this one as well. Very balanced like the other one, nicely integrated. The tannins are structured but not really big tannins, not big chewy tannins at all. Same with the first one. Touch of cranberry coming through, a little bit of, I get some strawberry on the back side of this one, like underneath. Very nice. Nice long finish. This is a lighter style. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Pinot Noirish, but not maybe more Gamay-like than. I'm going to go Gamay-like on this one. I really get that on this. People that like Gamay would really like this wine. It's very juicy. Very juicy on the palate. Those bright berry fruits coming through. That licorice is kind of in there a little bit, just a little bit. Get a little earthiness, like almost forest floor on the back end, underneath, kind of riding underneath the pomegranate and kind of cranberry, strawberry notes on this one. Solid wine. I'm going to go B minus B on this one. I think it's a very good wine. $16. Both of them are very inexpensive. And I know how many of you actually seek out Nero d'Avola when you go to the Italian wine section. Now, I only have a couple in my section because I don't get asked for it a lot. And that's really what demands the space in the department. But I think it's a very solid wine, very good food wine. I'd have this with lamb, ham, burgers, pizza, that sort of thing. Really solid food wine, but very delicious at the same time. It's still lingering in my mouth. I almost get like some red raspberry as well on the back end. The wine world is so cool. I mean, it really is. There's so much to learn. I've been doing it for a long time, and I'm still learning every day new things about wine. So, for those of you that are just breaking into it, subscribe to my channel so you can get some ideas about what you might want to purchase, what you might want to put in the wine cellar. I'm going to have another episode. One of the most popular episodes is Can You Age an Expensive Wine? I'm going to do one on I'm not sure what I should call it. You guys let me know. I don't want to call it the same thing, part 2, but I like to dive into my cellar and talk about the key elements of aging wine, and the fact that it doesn't have to be expensive makes it more interesting for those of you, a lot of us that don't have a lot of extra income to spend on wine. You know, in that episode, Can You Age an Expensive Wine? I found some wines that I had put away that were under $10 or under $15 that actually were aging nicely. So yes, you can, but there's some key elements in doing that, and I want to do an episode about what are the key elements in aging wine. And that should be a fun episode to do. Washington Wine Month is coming up, the original Washington Wine Month, which is March. So you'll see a few episodes. I won't drench you with Washington wines in March, but I like to feature Washington wines during that month because, you know, I live in Washington, so why not? And I have a lot of favorite Washington producers that I will feature on in March. So there you go. Thanks for taking a little time out of your day. I really appreciate your support. It means a lot to me. I like the comments. I didn't get many comments on the Syrah one. I was about why people might shy away from Syrah. Just shout out to Jordana, who said she loves Syrah. In fact, she has the same problem I have with Zinfandel. She can't find any in her house because she's always drinking them. But, you know, just make that comment, you know, whether you love Syrah or not. How about Nero d'Avola? I would like to hear your comments on your experiences with Nero d'Avola. Have you found good ones? Do you want to share one that you particularly like? I want to know. What do you think about this episode? Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You keep watching, and I'll keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely.